your career. I'm Lisa Cook, Senior Director of the Walden University Career Services Center, and I will be your moderator. Joining me is Career Services Advisor Nicole Skalski, who has worked with our DBA leadership to present you with a wonderful panel of 4 DBA alumni who will be talking about their diverse backgrounds, ranging from leadership to healthcare management to project management and marketing. So our DBA leadership joining us today are Dr. Frida Turner, Associate Dean and DBA Program Director, as well as Fred Walker, our Associate DBA Program Director. So before we get started, I'd like to briefly introduce you to our Career Services Center team. There are 5 of us. We work full-time from the Walden, Minneapolis office, and our mission is to educate, coach, and advise our learners to proactively manage their careers. And so with that, I'm now going to hand it over to Nicole to launch a poll.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, so everyone, at the end of your program, we're all here at Walden. We have career goals in mind. What do you hope to do? So this is kind of an open question. If you could use that questions box and just type in the answer into the questions box, and we'll give everyone a moment to do that. Wow, we have some people joining us, just so Frida and Fred, you know, from all the way from Lima, Peru. Amazing. Okay, so we have people rolling in right away. We have academia, IT consulting, management and leadership, teaching business online, opening a school for women to teach leadership skills, fantastic, teach at a university, C-level executive positions, government, consulting, supply chain management, healthcare management long-term, academia, this is fantastic. Advance in the Department of Defense, think tanks, teach at a collegiate level, business consulting, post-secondary education, business management consulting. That is fantastic. So it looks like we have a wide range that kind of matches our panel today. We have 4 excellent panelists who will be sharing their distinct career stories and transitions with their DBA. And with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Frida Turner to introduce our amazing and wonderful panelists today.
Thank you very much, and welcome to everyone who's dialed in. First thing I'd like to say about the Doctor of Business Administration is the practitioner degree is 100 years older in the United States than the PhD degree. What that meant is a practitioner degree is equal to a medical doctor. And so the very first medical doctor received credentials prior to a PhD getting credentials. So on the panel, I would like to introduce Jason Newcomer. There's Jason. And Anna Ray Clark. You'll see her on the left. And if you will advance the slide, please. And Dr. Warren Lesser and Dr. Jeffrey. Is Jeffrey with us today? Wait.
I will be telling Jeffrey's story for him, Dr. Turner.
Okay.
He gladly shared his story, but was not able to make it live.
Okay, yeah, I know he travels extensively. Okay, thank you. Would you like each of these individuals to speak at this time, or?
We'll just move on until we get to their part. Thank you, Dr. Turner. Appreciate it. Okay. So as Dr. Turner expressed, and we can see from the wide range of backgrounds from our panelists, the DBA degree is very versatile, okay? So today we're going to discuss the versatility of this degree and how our panelists and others can use it to advance their career. And then we're going to explore those different career paths through our alumni success stories. So some of the benefits of the DBA would be to gain knowledge and expertise in a particular industry, follow that scholar practitioner path, possibly gain better salary, career flexibility, create a niche as a consultant, as some of you have done, implement a business idea, and collaborate on a research project. Now, today we will be listening to a DBA alumni who have used their degrees in a variety of distinct career paths. So here's a sampling of a number of career paths one can take with the DBA degree. And again, this is by no means a comprehensive list, but it is a great place to start. And I see that many of you on the open poll mentioned a variety of these areas, including government, consulting, teaching, nonprofits, and starting their own business. We also created a visual based on data from the top 7 job titles that Walden DBA alumni hold. Now I want to hand it over to our first wonderful Walden alumni DBA panelist, Jason Newcomer, and he's Deputy Director of Logistics and Maintenance with the United States Air Force, to share how the DBA has transformed his career.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I appreciate it. Hi, I'm Dr. Newcomer. You guys can call me Jason. First, I would like to say thank you to the Career Services Center team for setting this up and getting us in here to be able to present our stories. I do want to thank Dr. Turner and Fred Walker for giving us the recommendation, and of course, thank you to the attendees for being interested in the DBA program and our panelist stories. There were a lot of great, amazing, and diverse range of goals for the use of the DBA, and all of those things that were mentioned are extremely possible. Would you mind advancing to the next slide, please? Thank you. So for the DBA, the first thing I was told to speak about, and it's extremely important in my development, is why the Walden DBA specifically was right for me. And so Walden, first, as an online institution, I'm active duty military. I work full-time hours. They range. Sometimes I work 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., sometimes the opposite, sometimes 8 to 5. It just depends on what I'm doing. So it was very important for me to find an online program, but the structure was one of the biggest things that Walden offered that other programs did not offer. And so when I was thinking about degree programs, business is obviously it's transferable across many fields. And then Walden had a leadership specialization, and as an Air Force officer, my job is to lead on behalf of the President of the United States, our military forces. And so the Walden DBA offered the flexibility and the specialization that I needed to be successful in my career. And so that practical piece versus theoretical kind of ties into that, because I would be using it in a practical nature. But I say that somewhat loosely because I know a lot of people ask that question, can I use this degree to teach? And I both teach and am in the military. And so while your education going through the Walden DBA program will be focused on practical application of your research, that scholar practitioner focus, there's nothing that prevents you from doing theoretical research as well, external to that or post-DBA, and I've chosen to do that, and it's been zero pain in that transition going back between both the practical and theoretical. Walden has great structure. As I said before, I tried with a previous school, and when I was with that school, they had an open type of classroom where there weren't deadlines as long as you had things turned in on time, and it was a one-on-one piece with the faculty and the student. You didn't have a classroom where you interacted with other students, and that just didn't work out for me. I could be somewhat of a procrastinator, so that open-ended timeline really doesn't work out very well. So when I joined Walden and I looked over the programs and I saw how they were broken up between assignments on Wednesday and Friday and then deliverables on Sunday, and it was exactly what I needed to make sure I could give myself a personal rhythm to where I could balance my life around school, because I knew when things were due and when things were expected. So that structure was great. The tuition was great, and everything was in my means, so that was the way I went. And going down to the last bullet, I'm glad I did, because in the end, I had some great faculty. It was great curriculum, and what's funny about that is there's things that happen even today to where I think about it, I'm like, oh wait, I did have that in one of my classes, and I run over to my bookshelf and I pull out the textbook, and there it is, clear as day. So there's a lot of things that come back later because you learn a lot of information and there's no way to remember it all. You can move to the next slide, please. So how the DBA helped my career. Nicole, I don't want to read off of the slide. Is it okay if I take about 2 or 3 minutes and tell a quick story here?
Of course. We would encourage that. Thank you.
Excellent. So when I started my DBA program, I had just moved to Washington, D.C., and I was working at the Pentagon for an executive. I was an executive assistant to a general there. And when we had our feedback session, our supervisor and supervisee feedback, he asked me what I was doing to advance my education since I already had my master's degree. I told him I was working on the Walden DBA, and he was extremely impressed. He asked me about the curriculum. I told him we have courses in strategy, marketing, leadership. And so as a result of that, this is not even graduating yet. He predetermined my next location, which is where I am now in Oklahoma City, to be the chief strategy guy here to develop our corporate strategy that the Pentagon uses to oversee certain functions of the military. And so as I continue this story, I'm going to use standard business terms to not confuse people or make you do any mental transcribing. So I moved here to do strategy, and as soon as I arrived, our CEO, he interviewed me as part of my onboarding process, and as we were sitting down and he was going over my record, he noticed that I had, beside my education, it said MAS plus. And so MAS is for master's, and then it had the plus, and he had never seen that before. And he said, what does that mean? And I told him that means when we're a PhD candidate or a doctoral candidate, the military updates your record to reflect that. And he said, wow, what are you studying? And I told him it was a DBA focused on leadership. And he said, wait a minute, did you have any courses or anything on change management? And I said, yeah, that was one of our main courses for our specialization. And he tells me, he says, okay, you're going to help me. In fact, we're going to help each other. And so here, before I arrived, he has this huge organizational problem. The organization wasn't aligned functionally. It was inefficient. And so now that I had this program behind my belt, he wanted me to help him with that. So over the next 2 weeks or so, I put together, I looked through all the government regulations to make sure we know all the legal reasons for why you can structure things the way you can and cannot. And I gave him a whole binder that had all these boundaries, and I gave him a suggested org chart after I interviewed all the managers in the organization and used those research skills I learned with my DBA to do interviews, find commonalities, and align people where they actually should be and organize the structure of the organization based on that. And he was extremely impressed, so impressed that he actually pulled me out of that job that I was sent there to do and put me in a leadership job. So here the directors work right for the CEO, and I'm a deputy director, so he jumped me up and skipped me 2 positions into a higher level leadership role over 103 people, giving me the opportunity to further develop my leadership skills. And so that was an amazing opportunity, and that was completely unplanned. I did the DBA to help me develop in my career, but I didn't realize it was going to rocket launch my career the way it did. And then the next 2 are pretty brief. As far as the assistant professor, as soon as I finished my doctorate degree, they promoted me immediately, and I went from being cleared for only 1 course that I taught. I've taught 1 course since 2008 with a master's degree that I was qualified to teach, to suddenly receiving thesis students for 2 different programs and being opened up to multiple courses. So that was an immediate benefit there. And then, of course, I updated my LinkedIn profile, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And one of my LinkedIn contacts noticed that that was updated, and they contacted me and asked me some questions about what the curriculum involved. And after I explained it to them and my dissertation topic, or my doc study topic, I was invited to be the vice chairman on the board and work their strategy for a nonprofit. So all of these things just happened all at the same time, and it was confusing and it was exciting, and I'm so glad that I completed my Walden DBA, because it just opened so many doors to include research, course clearances, and speaking engagements. Random people contact me on LinkedIn and invite me to come do speaking engagements for various events around Oklahoma City. So it's absolutely amazing. I never expected it would have the impact that it did. For accomplishments, the publishing one, I know some people ask, can I publish with this, or where are my opportunities afterward involve publishing? As soon as I finished, I emailed some of the other faculty members and said, hey, does anybody need any help with the research projects? I'm a new graduate. I've only done one study. I'd like to be a research assistant on some of your teams. And I got a few emails back saying, well, what do you have in mind? I presented an idea, and I went from being the person asking if I could get on a project to they said, all right, take it and lead it. And they forced me to lead the project as a learning opportunity, and they supported me, and we've done 4 publications since then. We just submitted one on Tuesday, a different team. We submitted one on Monday, and about 3 weeks ago I submitted another study with some other colleagues that I met on women in aviation maintenance, or the lack thereof. And so it's been really exciting, a lot of opportunities. I was put in for a leadership award at my job because of all the things that have been happening and all the opportunities I've been taking advantage of. And the biggest thing this year is a few weeks ago I found out that I was nominated for a very selective leadership development program where I will leave for about 3 years. And the first year is more academic on military leadership and development, and the next 2 years I'll be put as a commander in charge of an organization to lead that. And so many things happen, and it's just been absolutely amazing. As far as challenges, my biggest challenge, you have to meet the expectations that come with the title. I noticed that there's some panelists are talking about challenges within the program, so I'm glad that mine focus on some things after that, because what happens when you're a doctor, people look at you as a doctor. If you make a typo in a form or all those things that the DBA program focuses on as you route your doctoral study through the wickets, and they come back and you're like, man, it was only a few minor things. Why did this come back? But the truth is, when you graduate, that is the expectation, that you are a doctor, and people do not expect to see typos and bad products and poor programs and bad oversight. All of these things are expected to be things that we're going to work through because you're determined, you're engaged. And then also understand that your DBA is a license to learn. And when you graduate from the program, while you may be an expert because of your work experience, you're a new doctor, and a whole new world of things are opened up to you, and you are going to be able to learn and grow within that entirely new world that's available because of your new accomplishment. And so just be open to learning, be humble, and that's all for that slide, please. So my recommendations, as I noted before, there'll be expectations of you, and with those expectations, you have to live up to some of them. You have to walk the walk. You're a doctor. You're a professional. You should carry that image. Make sure you capitalize on your specialization, just like with medical doctors. Dr. Turner brought that up earlier. If you go to a medical doctor, they're very specialized. One doctor specializes on infectious disease, another one specializes in the heart, another one on neurological system. DBAs are the same way. My specialization is in leadership, and I think I have a well-informed education on that, but if you start asking me about marketing, I'm going to have to refer you to Warren, because I can't really help you out very much there. And so understand your limitations, and that's okay, because a good sign of a leader is to be able to surround people, create a team around you that compensates for your shortfalls, and you support each other and move forward. And that's exactly what I have in my organization right now. The leadership team complements each other very well, and we're very successful because of that. And the last thing is don't expect people to call you doctor. They will. Some people will call you doctor. A lot of times it's a term of respect. People at work call me major doctor, kind of in joking, but also because they like me. If they didn't, they wouldn't say that. But there's no expectation for people to call you that. Don't walk in and say, hey, I'm Dr. such and such. It just really sends kind of a bad image once you graduate, even though it's tempting to do. I would just advise against that. That's a personal opinion. And then, of course, use your research skills to solve real problems. I gave you an example earlier about the organizational alignment, where I use the qualitative, the interview skills that I learned throughout my DBA program to collect information and find commonalities, identify themes, and based on that, solve the organization's problem, align it the right way. And that was extremely valuable. And my skills were used again, the quantitative skills in the nonprofit, when we were trying to develop a way to measure student success in these youth that we're trying to teach entrepreneurship to. ways to measure the change. And of course, having gone through multiple courses on that and having a little bit of experience with that, it was very easy to produce a product for the CEO because of my research experience. And it was applied research that solved a real problem, and it feels really good. Next slide, please. So I recommended LinkedIn. I did mention that earlier. That was where my friend that is the CEO of the nonprofit reached out to me and noticed the difference in my resume and asked questions, and it got me it opened up an opportunity for me. So I would encourage you to create a LinkedIn profile. It's a great way to network with other folks. There's a Walden DBA network group on there if you already are on LinkedIn. And in the Walden DBA network, students post questions about helping with doc studies, and there's resources and alumni, and it's an amazing network. You can connect with other people in your field that maybe aren't DBA graduates, but in your field. And then, of course, for those of you who are looking for a different job once you finish your degree, there's all different types of profile settings and premium profiles and things you can do to make yourself more marketable and be noticed because of your degree. And so LinkedIn is a great asset. I encourage you to sign up for that. And then for those of you who's still in the program, or if you are in a program you're working on your doc study, I noticed one of the problems I had as I went through was the DOIs and finding all of your DOIs. So aside from Googling those, you can use that link that I provided there. Crossref owns the DOI process, so their website you can actually type in, you can actually enter a reference and it'll find the DOI for you and give it back. That was just a small tidbit, save some of the current students a lot of trouble. And that's all I have. Again, I want to thank the team, the Career Services team, Dr. Turner, and everybody on the line for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Jason. That was phenomenal and right on track with LinkedIn. So next we have Dr. Annie Raitt Clark. Annie Raitt, are you with us?
I am. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. My name is Annie Raitt Clark, and presently I work with a bank. I'm an assistant manager and have become a lead trainer. I also facilitate with nonprofit organization and also volunteer. I am a training consultant for a hospital called WellStar, and I have gotten this position like right after my doctorate degree. Next slide. Why I pursue a Walden doctoral degree. As Jason had mentioned before, I did a lot of research on schools that I want to pursue a doctoral degree. But when it comes to Walden, Walden was the top of my list. Walden has become a phenomenal school for me. What Walden did for me, Walden provides me with a well-rounded, high-level business education. The professors are great at Walden. At Walden, the doctoral degree helped me remain relevant within my workplace and within my profession. It provides me the cutting-edge knowledge that leads to a better job performance in today's world. The opportunity to potentially become a business professor or grow into a leadership role within the industry. How the DBA helped my career. The DBA helped my career presently in my organization. I was promoted to a lead trainer in the whole Wells Fargo that I work with. This was actually given to me, and I did not see it coming. I was promoted. Why? Because I pursued the DBA at Walden, and my managers, they all know that I was pursuing this degree. So they were all like, when are you going to finish? When are you going to finish? And I'm like, it's coming, but I think they were looking for it sooner than when I was done. But the DBA helped my career also because it qualified me for career opportunities. Opportunities as a business professor are rising. This is where every day almost I get emails, I get calls from different organizations. The DBA also helped my career by sharpening my research skills. Challenges and accomplishments. The challenges I had is that I set standard for myself. I asked myself, do I want to grow? Yes, I do. So the challenge to setting, achieving specific goals in my life, the methods that I use, like started with a problem clearly, like whatever I don't know, I would ask questions and avoid getting off track. I identify the specific strengths and resources that I have to use to overcome challenges. The dedication involves countless hours of research and scholarly writing, overcoming the challenge of public speaking and presenting reports in presentation. That was a challenge because you would never get me to do this, what I'm doing now, before my DBA. So my accomplishment with the DBA is I have a publish coming out shortly. It's in the pipeline. One of my greatest accomplishments is that I start my own consulting company in training. And I was nominated in Atlanta for the business specialist for Metro Atlanta. And I'm also a training consultant for a hospital where I train physicians using their operating system, which is called Epic. Recommendations. The Atlanta Chamber of Commerce is a good thing to join. It provides networking in all areas of research with other engaged research professionals. We have the Atlanta WellStar chapter, and this is like for people who are in the healthcare department. And this is a valuable resource for information, training, and employment opportunities. You can network with so many people there that it's phenomenal. We have the Georgia Association of Healthcare Executives, and this is a network for career development, forum for professional exchange. Also, the recommendation, this is the Nigerian American chapter of Commerce. This is where I have networked with other people. This is from so many different cultures, but I have joined the Nigerian chapter of Commerce. This provides resources and support for communities to help their organization in whatever venture they may pursue. The SHRM, most of us know the SHRMs, which is it is a Connect member only. But for those of you who are still in school, you only pay $35 to join it. And it is good resources. It helps with online communities for specialized HR information. So this you can join. And for those of you who are still in school, what I would have to tell you is use the DOI, as Jason said. This will help you along the way real lot. The cross-reference, it is phenomenal. Just use it, and this will help you as you go along. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Annie Ray. And hold on, because we'll probably have lots of questions for you all. Okay, next we have Dr. Warren Lesser, and his specialization was in marketing. And Warren, are you there? And I'll hand it over to you to talk about your entrepreneurship and your business ventures.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to be asked to join this webinar, and I appreciate the invitation. If you would please advance to the next slide. The first question is, why did I pursue the Walden DBA? And I think when you look at Walden versus other schools, I looked closely at Argosy, I looked at Phoenix, I looked at Capella, I looked at accreditation, and I examined curricula from all those universities. And I really felt like Walden's program was more together, that they had a higher standard of education. And when you're going to put that much work into going for a doctorate, you definitely want to find a program that has rigor, because at the end of the day, if your program is not rigorous, you're not going to improve your skills and your education, and it's not really going to help you succeed. I looked at technical resources, and Walden's library is amazing. I was talking to a colleague of mine today who also graduated from Walden. We were buddies in school, and we're still buddies. And I said to him, I said, Greg, I don't want to overestimate how many references you think all the databases in the Walden library have, but I know it has to be tens of millions. And he said to me, he said, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you count them? And I said, oh, great idea. I'll let you know by Christmas in the year 2025 if I live that long. It is enormous. And I think when you're really busy, as we all are in today's hectic pace, the world we live in today, that if you can find resources at your fingertips within seconds, it is such a blessing, because you're trying to get through the program. You've got all these papers to write. You've got research to conduct. And the value of an excellent library cannot be overstated. My recruiter was really good at Walden. I developed a rapport with her, and I trusted her. And so that was a big factor. And then when you look at the size of Walden, that is a testimony in and of itself as to how successful they have been. And I think their diverse student body, as well as their diverse faculty, it just has to add value to the education. And in my case, it certainly did. And then I think at the end of the day, it's your gut feeling. It's your gut that you can trust or not trust. In my case, I did trust it. And I asked myself the question, I'm going to have a DBA, and people ask me, where did you get your DBA? I want to say, and I have to answer the question, from which university did you get your DBA? Then I'm going to feel the best by saying, I got my DBA from Walden. You know, sometimes people look at online universities, they really don't understand them in this day and age, because we're so used to bricks and mortar education. And I think that the online university, from my experiences, was even more difficult. But from a reputation standpoint, you can't beat Walden. The reason I went back was because I have a 1987 MBA. I'm one of the older students for sure, and I needed something to be able to fit my busy schedule with running businesses. So I wanted to, with the advent of the internet in the 90s, I had to get with the program. And if you want to be successful in business and know how to run a business, then you better be pretty savvy with what's going on with the World Wide Web. In my business, I deal with several physicians, medical doctors, DOs, nurse practitioners, and I deal with government officials in the FDA. And I think that when you have some credentials, it gives you a little more credibility when you're dealing with these folks, and maybe they listen to you a little bit more, so that helps you achieve the objectives you're trying to achieve. My daughter's in med school, lastly, just as on a personal note, and I thought, well, I can't have my daughter outdo her dad, so it's just kind of fun. It is cool to have a doctorate, and you can't you don't want to go around saying I'm a doctor and trying to boast about it. I think you have to prove your worth rather than just say, well, I have these credentials, therefore I'm so good. Next slide, please. I'm so confident. I looked closely at the DBA versus the PhD. It was a tough decision, really, and both degrees are terrific. The ultimate decision for me was, which degree is going to help me be successful in business? Which degree is going to give me the skills I need on a day in and day out basis to run an operation from top to bottom, including finance, including marketing, including management, including regulatory aspects of a business, including human resources. And from a practical, hands-on perspective, I think the DBA equips managers and executives to run their businesses more competently. The PhD, I think that if I was in an academic setting, or if I was going to devote more of my life to research, I think the PhD would be more appropriate. So for me, the DBA was the degree to help me exceed more in my career of running businesses. I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and I've had a few companies I've started from scratch, and with good teams of people and blessings from above have had success. The SpectraCare was the first company, and it grew in 1988 to 1,200 employees, and I harvested that company in 1996, and was home health and IV infusion. And then SpectraBrace was another company we started after SpectraCare and harvested that firm to a public company, and the same with Paradigm's ICD-9 coding business. Now, presently I have two companies, Magna Pharmaceuticals and Z Express, and I think the DBA is helping me run these firms on a day in and day out basis. Z Express is just a small family-owned business here in Louisville, Kentucky, but for the last 4 years we've been voted on Louisville's A-list as the best conveyor car wash in the city. Magna Pharmaceuticals has had a up and down history, but we now have actually 3 drugs that we should be able to launch in 2016. So, you know, in pharmaceuticals, if you have one good product, it makes your whole company. The DBA unequivocally has improved my skills, and I think what goes along with that is you need to have a healthy dose of humility. Last week I was having lunch with Dr. Shesh Rai, who's the Director of Biostatistics at the University of Louisville. Shesh and his staff have conducted quantitative research analyses for some of the clinical trials that Magna has conducted over the years. And I was talking with Shesh, and he says, you know what bothers me the most? He says, my colleagues who are so arrogant. He said, they're so counterproductive. And I thought, and I said to him, you know, maybe the greatest value of a true quality education is realizing how much we really don't know in the whole scheme of things and how much more we need to learn. You know, the DBA for me aggravated my hunger to learn even more. And I think if you have a truly good education, you know, I mean, we don't even, in healthcare, for example, in the human body, which is just amazing, we don't even understand all the enzyme cascades in a single human cell. You know, when you look at the earth we live in, we're a pinhead. You know, the size of the earth is really a pinhead size with respect to the entire universe. So arrogance, I don't think arrogance is appropriate for people who call themselves doctors, because the more you learn, the more you realize how much more you need to learn. May I please have the next slide? So those are the ways that the DBA has helped my career. From an accomplishment standpoint, I think without irrefutably, my daily communication is better, especially my written communication. And you know, when you write an email or when you're composing a letter, you definitely want to live up to your degree. And I think if I just jump down to the third bullet for a second, the DBA achievement adds pressure. I think Jason mentioned this as well, to deliver and measure up to our credentials. And I think it's not only for yourself, but it's also for the school. You know, I happen to think a lot of Walden. I'm very proud I went there. And I really think that if people know, they say, where did you graduate? I want them to look at me and say, wow, Walden's got a great program. They really, you know, they really help people. They can really enhance skills and knowledge and make people more competent. One of the challenges, if you jump back to the second bullet, was the curriculum workload. As I alluded to earlier, an online school is really difficult. You can't cut classes, can't be late on assignments. You know, there's a Wednesday paper, there's a Sunday paper, there are posts during the week, and it's tough. I spent a lot of nights up until 3 or 4 in the morning to make sure I could submit an assignment on time and a quality assignment, because you know your peers read your assignments and they read your posts, and so once you've written it, it's there. You can't take it back. You know, and I think perhaps your work is subject to more scrutiny because everything is online, everything is in writing. So it's the workload is not to be underestimated, but it is not insurmountable. I'm not trying to scare anybody away. I'm just saying that if you're going to go for a Walden DBA, you know, make sure you fasten your seatbelt, make sure your priorities are in order before you start, and make sure you have a good support system in place. As I mentioned before, down to the fourth bullet, Magna's had some problems. You know, we went through a regulatory change where the FDA came out and said, well, there were 300 products or so they took off the market in 2011, not for safety reasons, but more for regulatory adherence to what they call an NDA. What is it, NDA or ANDA? So a lot of the old legacy drugs that were on the market for decades were removed from the marketplace. So we went into a tailspin, and we were in a period of financial distress for 3 years, and we re-engineered the company, and now we're operating in the black with the prospect of some really good products coming down the pike. And so I think from a business turnaround standpoint, the Walden degree, the DBA, has really helped. I think you also build more character, you build perseverance, because you go through several years of tough study. So when you survive, you come out and you've been tested by fire, so to speak. I have been elected to the Specialty Pharma Association board. I don't think that would have happened if I didn't have the DBA, and I'm now a speaker at nurse practitioner meetings. And you don't speak at nurse practitioner meetings unless you're a nurse practitioner or you have a doctorate. And I speak at some other meetings too. I think the DBA has helped in that regard. My colleague and I may publish we're going to conduct another study that we may publish as well. I think in terms of a career transition, I haven't made a career transition, but if I was going to give you any advice, I'd say the DBA education and the research experience that we get trains us to ask better questions. What are the outcomes that I want from my new job? Are these outcomes realistic? I think it helps us, our training and our experience in research help us eliminate bias as well, where we can make a more comprehensive and objective assessment of my present career versus a new career that I may migrate to. So the last slide is recommended resources. I didn't use the Writing Center as much as I could have or should have, and I met some of the staff members from the Writing Center at intensive residencies later on in the program, and wow, they're really competent people. So I would say rely on the Writing Center early in the curriculum and don't wait until later. Google Scholar, I think, is a nice complement to, and I think maybe it's part of the actual Walden database selection now. The intensive residencies, take them in. And maybe the last thing I want to say is I have a really good colleague. His name is Dr. Greg Banks, and we became friends throughout the program. We still are. And I think that if you can get a classroom soulmate, somebody that will work with, encourage you, you encourage them, you guys can, you folks can work together on different projects. I think you get different insights from a colleague, and it's just so valuable to have somebody go through the program with you, whom you trust and whom becomes a friend to you. So anyway, these are my thoughts, and hopefully helpful to your decision. If you're contemplating attending Walden, then by all means, I don't think there's a better school you can attend if you're looking for an online university or a bricks and mortar university, really. So thank you.
Thank you, Warren. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is Nicole. Unfortunately, Dr. Jeffrey Wade was not able to make it, but I'm going to I interviewed him for his slides, and I'm going to try to tell the story the best as I can. So he is a senior lean facilitator, and he provides executive coaching, event facilitation. He does a lot, as I learned, analysis and process improvement guidance for 2 major areas of a hospital system that has over 6,000 employees, 8 community clinics, plus additional functions like a level 1 trauma center, poison control, paramedics for the city, county of Denver. So that's very impressive, and external training as well to academies. So he did move into this role after completing his doc study, which was in March 2014, so just about a year ago, and he graduated from the DBA April 2014. His director stated that his DBA degree was one of the main factors for this hire and the pay rate increase that he received. He provides leadership coaching to managers on lean management systems. So really his goal is to ensure that the leaders in this hospital system are effectively leading change and ensuring quality and efficient processes. So for the different positions, he says, especially, as you could see, he's in the military. He's a military Air Force veteran, especially local and federal government and affiliated organizations. He said the level of the doctoral education really can translate to experience and eligibility for many positions. And having the doctoral education, he was considered an expert in his field and giving higher marks for job applications. And even, again, he said he earned a higher starting salary for these positions as well with the doctoral degree. And some of the career enhancements, I asked him if he could provide some examples, and he said one of the best examples that he has is his work with actually doctors, physicians. He has had multiple physicians treat him differently, he says, in the office among peers because of his new title. And while he typically does not use it, he's often introduced by many leaders, especially two executive coaches, the Chief Nursing Officer and the Chief Information Officer, as Dr. Wade. So kind of considering himself with that credential on the same level as his peers. And then these are a list of some of his recent accomplishments, which are quite impressive. The doc study, he won 2 awards with the Air Force for professional and scholarly work, Doc Study of the Year for the College of Management and Technology. So again, as I mentioned, it did provide an easy transition for him into a civilian job from the military. He has the Certified Project Management, the Project Management Certification in 2013, and again, promoted within 11 months, so, and accepted to teach. So he does have a very impressive resume there, and he has some resources that he recommends for those interested in healthcare executives. The same one Dr. Clark mentioned, ACHE. If you can join a local or state chapter, that's great too. And of course, for those of you who are interested in project management, you have PMI. And then he mentions a couple resources for veterans, which is great as well. I've added on to the end here some consulting resources for those of you who are interested in consulting, some websites, professional associations, and online publications as well. And also we put together some LinkedIn groups. So I know Jason mentioned LinkedIn and how important it is. So joining groups and professional associations and engaging online is a great way to build your network. And here are some project management ones as well. And with that, we are going to open it up for questions. So I'll hand it on to my director, Lisa Cook. We're going to field some of the questions. And if you could type in the name of the person that you would like to direct your question to. Now, of course, Dr. Wade is not here today, so will not be able to answer questions. But I'm sure everyone else on the panel would be happy to.
Terrific.
Hi, Lisa.
Yes.
This is Dr. Newcomer. Do you mind if I make a quick comment?
Not at all.
All right. So reference Nicole's comment about the power of LinkedIn. I would just say that since I talked about it in my presentation, I've received 13 invites to connect with Walden DBA or aspiring DBA folks from this webinar. So great.
Wow. Terrific.
Thank you for mentioning that, Jason. Yes, there's the power of LinkedIn in action right now as we speak.
Excellent. Thank you. So, Jason, I'm going to direct the first question to you, and actually it's to all of our DBA alumni. So, let's see, what year did you complete your DBA degree, and how long did it take you?
Hi, well, this is Jason. I completed my DBA in 2013, technically in December. I finished everything in November, but of course you have to wait till the term ends. So December was the end date. And I started in March of 2010. So for me, it took me almost 4 years, but I joined the DBA program. I have a master's in aeronautical science and a bachelor's in aeronautical science, so I had to do the business core classes. People that join with an MBA, they shave a year off of the program.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Anna Rate, would you like to answer that question? So what year did you graduate and how long did it take you to complete your degree?
Yes, I started the degree in April of 2010, and I was done in November of 2013, and I walked in January of 2014.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. And then Warren, would you also like to field that question?
Yes, I started in August of 2010 and finished in December of 2013, and I did take all the core courses because my MBA was older.
Excellent. Thank you.
This is Annie Rate. I have another question. So, and after I finished, like in November of 2013, that January of 2014, I came back and I did a postdoctoral in healthcare management.
Right. Thank you for mentioning that, because I noticed you have the double. You have leadership and healthcare management. Is that correct for your specializations?
Yes, Nicole.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
And Dr. Turner, I'm going to direct the next question to you, and maybe the panelists would like to chime in as well. Is it better and safer to start a consultancy in your field of expertise or diversify into a different field that might be more marketable?
Well, if it were me, I would go with the area that I'm most comfortable at first, get my feet wet, and then spring out. And I think Warren Lesser has done a lot of consulting. Warren, what's your take on it?
Dr. Turner, I think that's exactly correct. If you look at successful companies and actually successful individuals, they find what they're good at and they stay focused. And I think that there's so many directions that we can go today that it's hard to be, you can't be an expert in every field. So you have to really be focused, I believe, today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any general recommendations of the best fields to consult in? It's a follow-up question on the earlier one. That's a hard question to answer. It probably depends on the area of expertise that the person has, as you mentioned.
Annie Rate,
yes,
maybe you want to share
okay.
about your consulting business as well? I know you started a consulting business.
Yes, I did. And I keep in my field of leadership because within the field of leadership, after you have gotten your doctorate degree, then when you go out there or people look on onto your resume or your CV, they want you to be in the field where you study to actually come and work for them. So yes, I did started my consultant company in the same field that I started, but in training and leadership.
Sure, thank you.
Lisa, I don't know how you can really have credibility to be a consultant, to be an expert, unless you have succeeded in the field that you're representing your expertise.
Good point. Thank you. At any rate, one student asked, what was your doctoral study topic and why did you choose it?
My doctoral study topic was online banking and customer satisfaction among Atlanta bankers. I chose that topic because I worked with the bank for over 10 years, and working with the bank, I know I want to keep this job and still stay within the field, so I chose that topic. So after my doctoral degree, I was just able to hand my regional manager a copy of my dissertation.
Wow.
Great. Terrific. Thank you. Jason, did your leadership specialization help you with other areas apart from business or organization skills and knowledge? For example, relationship building and self-confidence?
Hi, absolutely. It was amazing. Really, the biggest thing about the leadership specialization, because when you start going in your specialization classes, for those who haven't been there yet, there were multiple group projects each week. You have 3 different group projects that you do, and so you have to find a lot of references that you connect to the the topic of that project. And as I did that reference search and having an interest in leadership already, I found so many great books on leadership and team building, and people already know that you get great knowledge from reading, but when you have a passion for the topic and you go through these classes and they connect you with other resources, and the resources connect you with people and practices, and it was just amazing.
Terrific. Okay. Anna Rate, do you have any specific leadership organizations that you would recommend joining?
Not a specific one, but there are plenty out there, as we said, because we have, like, now I'm all up into the healthcare. So we have here in Atlanta, I know not everybody's from Atlanta, but wherever you are, I know you can join the Georgia Association of Healthcare Executive, because that is a good one. Here we have the Atlanta Chamber of Commerce, and I know, like, in different states, you have different states of commerce. Those are a good one to join because it provides the resources that you need for networking. Whether you're researching or you're a professional, it will help you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I think that's about it for questions.
Okay, great, you all. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll just wrap it up here with some of our career services resources. So we have developed this doctoral webinar series on our website, and we're going to continue to add to that series this year in 2015. So a lot of great resources for getting into higher education and publishing. And then, of course, connect with career services. We're a big fan of LinkedIn. We have our own LinkedIn group that we encourage you to join. And now we've started our own YouTube channel where we actually have career spotlights, and we interview students at residencies and have some fantastic career stories on there to share, and a blog, and of course our optimal resume system and Twitter. So here are all the career resources, and we'd like to wrap it up with this quote: "The purpose of life is to discover your gift. The work of life is to develop it, and the meaning of life is to give your gift away." And we thank all of you for participating, and we want to give a special thank you to the DBA leadership, Frida Turner and Fred Walker, and of course all of our wonderful panelists who took the time to collaborate on this webinar and share their career expertise. So thank you all.